Here's a small secret I haven't shared with many people. Nerf AccuRival is the reason this channel exists. To be fair, there is a complete story behind it, so let's jump right in. It was the spring of 2022, and I remember going to Walmart just for a mundane household essentials run. And as I was walking through the sporting goods, one of the end caps near the toy department had this new variety of bright, highly contrasting, very attractive Nerf blasters. This would be the first time I laid eyes on the then new 22 line of rival AccuRounds series blasters. On full display was the Pathfinder, the Vision, and the Fate. I've been very open and transparent about this, but up until then, my relationship with Nerf had been very touch and go. Nothing yet had pulled me over the fence far enough to take the full hobby plunge just yet. Sure, I enjoyed the occasional Coop, Drac, and even Dr. Flux blaster video review every now and then, but I wasn't nerded out on a hardcore level just yet. A few weeks went by and then I noticed Target was having a sale on these fairly newly released blasters, along with some other blasters like the Dart Zone Striker, X-Shot Crusher, and a variety of very cool blasters. I couldn't help myself and I took the plunge. I remember getting to my girlfriend's house that day and I was like, babe, I just did a Nerfgun haul. Her brother was there that day and I remember just playing for hours with both of them, plinking inside the house, tagging each other. It was a blast. It was the first time I actually got to experience how real fun this hobby can be at a very light scale. The rest is history, and if you fast forward to present time, it feels like we can't get enough Nerf nowadays. Ever. Getting back to these rival blasters, their release kind of caught everybody by surprise. After the last of the rival Edge blasters were phased out in summer of 2021, there were no leaks or rumors talking about anything else coming out for rival, so the community assumed that the line had finally been laid to rest. And I believe this is why AccuRival felt so new and fresh when it came out. After the COVID lockdown started waning and people finally started to get a glimpse of that outdoor activity life once again, it was so refreshing to not only see rival come back, but come back with these beautiful, vibrant colors, a very good feeling material and build quality, and an accuracy-focused ammunition type for the rival line. It's very clear that rival is one of the most, if not the most popular sub-series brand that Hasbro has ever put out for Nerf. It's no surprise that a lot of people were happy to know that this brand wasn't dead. In fact, it was bringing some people back into the hobby and some people full-blown into the hobby, like it did with your boy. To me, it's just been very overdue to at least talk about these blasters in some capacity. So today, I'm gonna rank all the blasters in the AccuRival line so far. There's 6 of them, I believe. This ranking is gonna be based on a combination of factors such as ergonomics, aesthetic, FPS, and accuracy. 2 of these are obviously objective, hard fact, analytic data. They will play into my overall choice, but at the end of the day, everybody's first to worst is gonna look different. And because of this, before I do my countdown, we're just gonna get the objective information out of the way right now. Taking a look at the FPS first, we have the Vision coming in really spicy. I was getting lots of rounds in the 100 FPS range with this blaster. Average for that one was 99.16. In second came in the Fate at 91.58. That one was also pretty spicy. And surprisingly, the longer barrel Pathfinder got the lowest, but nonetheless, that and the Fate were only about 1 FPS apart. Coming in fourth place, we got the new for 2024 Rival Mirage, which had an average of 89.16. Rounding up the 5th and 6th place is the Rival Pilot at 88.75, and dead last is the first flywheeler ever for AccuRival, the Challenger at 87.78. Coming in at number 1 accuracy with the first place in the best deviation out of all grouping for 5-round averages is the 2024 Rival Mirage, followed by the Pathfinder. The Fate came in really close to the Pathfinder. Then we have the Vision in 4th place. The Pilot is gonna fall in the same place as it did for FPS. That's 5th place for its accuracy deviation. The Challenger is also gonna match its dead last place for the accuracy deviation too. Interesting results, but now I'm gonna tell you how I rank these blasters based on the way that I connected with them. Some recent Nerf war experience improved the way that I approach these blasters and the way that I see that they can be useful in the battlefield. Without further ado, let's get started right now. Coming in at number 6, and I'm sorry there's some fanboys out there that are gonna yell at me, the first AccuRival flywheel ever to me. I don't know if I got a dud, but to me it was a huge disappointment. I wanted to like this blaster so much. It's not only the first 8AA or 9-volt Nerf blaster of all time, but it's also the first flywheeler of the AccuRival line. Very cool SMG slash bolter design. Very solid construction, just like any AccuRival. Lots of features. You got sling points. You got this new kind of end strike barrel attachment. Banana mag feature is really cool. Very ergonomic, very comfortable to hold. You can see all the reviews. There's a half a dozen already out there on YouTube. The huge letdown for me is that this blaster shoots consistently to the right. Yes, I know, before you jump in the comment, it's a quick 5-minute fix probably. And to me, it's probably a 2-minute fix because I'm very, very technically inclined. But to the average person that picks this up at Target or Walmart and wants to go play, it's not serviceable in that way. And then of course you see how it ranked in the grouping. Couldn't even get the shots in the same place at that. And the FPS left a lot to be desired, averaging at that 87 number that I gave you. Other than that, I have to tell you, it's not a bad blaster. There's a few things they can do and get this thing working very well. The power delivery is seamless. The minute you rev this blaster, you push the trigger, those balls just get squeezed out of those flywheels so smoothly, buttery smooth as a matter of fact. It's just the delivery of the projectile after that that leaves a lot to be desired, and that's why I placed this one dead last at number 6, right on par with its performance ranking. Number 5 is the Nerf Rival Vision. I personally, contrary to a lot of opinions and experiences out there, like this blaster. I had none of the problems that other people had, but I understand where they're coming from. Now that I have been exposed to several Nerf war scenarios, I can see how a couple of mechanical features of the blaster can feel like a hindrance to someone who needs good, reliable blaster. It reminds me, I had a guy at Maryland Mayhem that was running this, and every time we were about to get swarmed, he's like, hey man, you got an automatic, can you go to the front please? He was running a Rival Vision, but hey, that was his blaster of choice, which proves that a lot of people do connect with the different ergonomics and styling of this blaster. Internal loading is a make it or break it feature for a lot of people. For me, I like it. But then again, I am also a charger lover. So take that with a grain of salt. The angle of the grip feels like for some people it might be a little bit more awkward, not what they're used to. A lot of people have trouble with the janky return to prime that the blaster has. Like I said, none of these are problems for me, but based on the experience that this would probably provide for me in a hectic, frantic Nerf war environment where I got zombies on my tail, I would say that this would probably not be a primary or secondary option for me. Other than that, this blaster was hitting extremely hard and the accuracy was middle of the road compared to its siblings. This is not a bad choice, especially at the clearance prices that they're going for nowadays. I've seen them as low as $3 all the way up to like $9. Rival Vision, not a bad one, but on this list, for me, it is in 5th place. Here's where things really start to get tough because the first time I ever shot the Fate, it was absolutely incredible. Like I could not miss with this blaster. Once you tune the elevation of the sights, basically you match the hop up to whatever distance you're shooting, this blaster is surgical. Because of that and the amazing ergonomics, plus inline plunger tube, which I tend to like a lot, is what got this blaster even at this contention stage. However, for things we're gonna discuss when we get to number 3, the Fate did land at spot number 4. It seems that Hasbro got everything from this blaster that was connecting with people and that was very successful, and they just incorporated it into future blasters, which we're gonna get to. The Fate is basically your Fire Strike or your Night Finder for the AccuRival line. Very simple to operate. You don't have to return the priming bar forward like you do on the Vision. Very cool open barrel feature like on the Curve Shot Flex and the Knockout. FPS was looking good. Accuracy was looking really, really good on this one. For the clearance prices that you can find these, if you can still get them, between $4 and $7, definite pickup. 4th place, Rival Fate, guys. And of course, edging the Fate by a small margin at number 3 is the Pilot. Came out during spring of 2023, I would say. This little blaster was blowing everybody's mind when it came out. Till this day, it's still going for the same price, $11.97. Why? Because it was a crazy price proposition to begin with. The Pilot is compact. It bears a lot of resemblance to the Knockout of yesteryear. Great bottom T-pull prime, but something that we didn't see in the Knockout. Instead of just opening a breech for top loading, the full barrel breaks open for the ease of just installing your choice of ammo, because one of the things that was crazy about this blaster is that as soon as it came out, there was incredible amounts of options as far as ammunition and barrels that you could put in here to fire anything you wanted. Close it up. Incredible. Great little performance. It's basically the AccuRival Jolt. I usually have this in my bag somewhere, no matter where I'm going. More than a dozen reviews on YouTube by your favorite creators will tell you exactly why this blaster is on 3rd place on my list, probably on 1st place or 2nd place in a lot of other people's lists. Second place, the blaster that stole my heart when I saw it on that shelf in 2022, the Pathfinder. I feel like I don't get to play with this blaster enough. I want to take it to a lot more Nerf wars. I feel like the carbine length gives you a false impression that it's going to shoot harder, more accurate, and longer, but it's just an extended barrel with under pump design, mag fed. A lot of people just prefer that playstyle, and that's why they opt for this one, but there's nothing different that this does that at least the Fate and the Vision cannot do. A great little blaster. It does add elevation and windage to the rear sight, which is a cool feature. I have noticed that depending on where I'm shooting or how far I am from the target, I do need to play with these settings, but once you dial it in, the ammo combined with the optimized barrels that Nerf put into these blasters just makes it an excellent choice. Overall, very big hand friendly, not too big as if it was mag and grip, but very nice, very, very small stock. You want to have this close to your person when you're using it, close proximity when you're playing zombies anyway, but there you go, guys. Pathfinder, 2nd place. By now, you're probably wondering, wait a minute, there are 7 AccuRival blasters in existence. Why is Not Enough only ranking 6? I am glad you asked. I personally never owned a Forerunner. At the time of its release, the hype behind the Pilot was still fresh in our heads and it still hadn't worn off. And having the Helix, which is a very similar blaster from the Rival Curve Shot line, I really didn't feel an urgent necessity to have to acquire one. But just like that, they came and went, and now you can't even find one anywhere. However, all hope is not lost. We're gonna call a friend of mine and get his opinion on the Forerunner. That way I can let you know if it's even worthy of an honorable mention. Who might have a Forerunner though? Oh, I know who might have one. Fomando, because blasters are part of his religion. Let's call Fomando and see what he thinks about this blaster.
So I was maybe 20 feet from the safe zone. It was high noon, and there he was with his necklace of brain tags and his shield. So anyway, I started blasting, and just hang on one sec. Is that not enough? Hey, this is Mando. I got you on speaker.
Hey, Mando. I'm in the middle of a Nerf AccuRival ranking video. I ranked 5 blasters so far. I was gonna rank 6, but then the ultimate and inevitable reality that there's actually 7 AccuRival blasters in existence. I was hoping you actually own the Rival Forerunner so you can give us your take on it.
Not enough, buddy. Blasters are a part of my religion. Of course I own a Forerunner.
Hell yeah, I was hoping. All right. So tell the audience what you think about it.
Well, let me just flip you to video and I'll see what I can do right now, all right?
Sounds good, man.
So while I'm not able to compare this to everything else in the AccuSeries Rival line, what I can do is compare it to a few comparable pistol grip shotgun style blasters. First up, we've got the Adventure Force Liberator, and while I like to keep this handy for close encounters, it does have some feeding and jamming issues, so it's not going to be my first choice. Up next, we've got a Rival Takedown, and while this is a really sweet little blaster, in my opinion, for it to see its full potential, you're going to want to kit it out with the super sweet, super ergonomic 01 Tech Lariat mod kit. Coming back to the Forerunner, we've got a generously sized grip with some texturing, plenty of room within the trigger guard itself. The pump grip up front is also textured and shaped in a way that when you pull back on it, your hand isn't going to slide off. We've got adjustable iron sights up front, and for me, this blaster's hitting in the mid-90s on my chronograph. I find it pretty reliable at around 15 to 20 feet, hitting my targets consistently, but like all Rival blasters, it's going to drop off at around 30 to 40 feet due to the nature of the projectile. To operate the blaster, simply pump and squeeze. This is the way. All in all, I'd give it around a 7 out of 10.
And there you have it, guys. Fomando is a good buddy of mine. I met him up in Maryland. I take his opinion seriously. However, just to solidify how we feel about the Forerunner, we're gonna put another buddy of mine on the phone. This time, let's call Dr. Flux. I bet you he's got a Rival Forerunner.
Not enough Nerf. Hey, not enough Nerf.
Hey, Flux, what's going on, man? Haven't spoken to you since Maryland. That was a blast, huh?
Yeah.
Question for you. You wouldn't happen to own an AccuRival Forerunner, would you?
Ah, the Forerunner. I think I might actually have one of those laying around. Let me take a look.
I'm in the middle of ranking the 6 AccuRival blasters, but there's actually 7. I never owned a Forerunner. So I'm hoping you have one and you can give me your thoughts on it.
I think you're in luck. Oh wait, no, that's a Fate. No. Oh, there we go. Forerunner.
All right.
Let me switch you over to full video and let's dive right into it. So the Forerunner, this is a strange one because I don't think the Forerunner had any faults. I think it's the time in which it came out. Essentially what happened was this blaster right here was overshadowed by the Pilot and the Pathfinder. 2 totally amazing blasters, not to mention just the ammo in itself was a very cool, innovative thing. So by the time the Forerunner came out, many people just kind of forgot about it. That doesn't mean it's not a good blaster though. I personally think it's pretty awesome. Starting at the pistol grip feels really good. And this pump action prime right here is excellent. So the Forerunner with this 12 round capacity, it's great ergo, and just overall, it's a solid platform. Overall, I really like it. I think it's a great blaster. Back to you.
And there you have it. 2 guys that know their blasters and I trust very much in their opinion. Now I can say with confidence that if I owned the Forerunner prior to making this video, I probably would have put it right between the Vision and the Fate. But that doesn't mean the Forerunner is necessarily a 5th place blaster. It just means I love the Fate that much. To other people, it would probably land in the 4th place or even higher. But today we're gonna treat it as an honorable mentions because remember, this is just my top Nerf AccuRival list, but I really wanna know what your list looks like. Of course, there's only one blaster left, so you knew what was gonna be in the first place, but I got something to tell you. This blaster was not even gonna place above 3rd when I first opened it. This blaster has a very inherent flaw, but it's outweighed by so much of its positives that's why it got 1st place. So let me tell you the bad first, and then I'll go ahead and get into the good. This blaster has a useless, completely non-functional top loading bay, and I'll tell you why. You open the blaster, you have a zombie chasing you. You don't have time to pull a mag and change it. So you're just gonna grab your dump pouch and stick some balls in here, return your plunger, and you're ready to defend yourself against that zombie, right? Wrong. Drac made a very good observation on his review. I recommend you watch his review on the Mirage because it's one of the best out there right now. This blaster does not have a dart gate. There is a dart gate in here, but it collapses when you pull the primer back, so it's useless. There should be a mechanic that collapses the gate on the push forward of the prime. I'm pretty sure Hasbro can do it. It's a matter of just putting in some extra gearing on the blaster and it will happen. But until then, the top loading is futile. Just use your change of mags, guys, and you'll be fine. That flaw and that flaw aside, as a mag and grip blaster, it works very well. There is one more flaw, but with the size of my hands, I didn't find it to be a big one. The location of the mag release is not very tactical. With your grip hand, it is impossible unless you have extra large Bigfoot hands to reach this mag release with your thumb. Drac also pointed this out. You have to use your offhand no matter what, or break grip to release your mag. The only remaining tactical way that you can still reload this blaster is with your offhand. Bottom fingers grab the mag, thumb presses on the mag release, and you can release your mag that way. Not very ergonomic, not a very functional way of doing it, but it's still possible. And if you gain some muscle memory and practice, you can develop a proper mechanic for doing this. Getting into the things that this blaster excels at. We saw that in the FPS category, it was the fastest out of the new releases of AccuRival blasters. I did get some good shots in the 95s. The FPS deviation was actually really low on this one, so it was very consistent. However, the accuracy, holy smokes. No adjustable fancy crazy sights, just a blade in the front with a nice little notch in the back, and then you have this extra little notch on the front bolter bar. And let me tell you guys, right out of the box, wherever you put those little bars, you could tell by the grouping ranking, that's where that ball is gonna go. I tried it from 10, 20, 30, and even 40 feet, and this thing was hitting surgical bullseyes no matter where I would aim, as long as I had the target lined up. I don't know if they just got that hop-up system finally just fully optimized or what it is, but this blaster does not miss. If you can find a way to get a good mechanic at your loading skills, get a good muscle memory doing that, finding a good way to change mags, this blaster is probably the most accurate Nerf rival blaster period that I've ever shot. And they have a lot of rival blasters. Let me know in the comments what's the next ranking video you would like to see from me. Appreciate you watching. Until next time, watch this video now. Stay blasted, foam fam.